What's going on, everybody? We're back for another episode of Their Story. Today, we're joined by Peter from PTV Sports Network. Peter, how are you doing this fine day?
I don't know where you're located, but it's a beautiful day in New York, and I'm ready to go.
You know what? I'm not too far. I'm in Connecticut. It's cold though, but it's actually not too bad out, so I do like it.
Yeah, we can't go like 40 today, and the last couple of days it's been like 10.
It was
So
10 and 18, so we're past that.
yeah,
So the big hard hitting question: why did you get into content create? Or actually, before we even start that, for those who don't know, what do you do?
and, I've been doing so many job interviews lately that when you hear what do I do, I automatically think, well, I've done this and I've done that. Basically, what PTV Sports Network, Instagram, Twitter, uh, podcast, YouTube channel is all about is just talking about it. It's mostly subjective type of opinionated content. Like I try and
Mhm.
do like pieces on, who do I think is the top 10 quarterback list, or I do mock draft. I've been doing, as you
You've
know,
been doing mock drafts a lot, I've seen.
We're in the same Instagram group together. So I've been doing a lot of mock drafts lately. And I love doing that kind of subjective content because it gets people really talking. You know what I mean? I love the comment section. Like I love getting different people's opinions on not only their team, but just the sport in general. So, as you know, as a content creator yourself, get some hate every once in a while, but it's okay. You,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? It comes with the territory, but that's basically what it is. I just talk about sports a lot. I try and have guests on the podcast and the YouTube channel are pretty much separate entities.
Mhm.
So I usually do most of just the subjective content on the YouTube channel, and then the podcast, which is not too much different. It's PTV Sports Podcast, so
Mhm.
not too much differential there. It's just really about what's going. Like I do pick'em podcasts for football. I do updates for baseball and basketball, hockey, all that kind of stuff. Haven't been doing too much of baseball because with the lockout and everything,
Not
I can't
easy, I
really
get
do
that.
much. But it's been mostly football lately. But that's really what it is. I talk sports. I always say that I'm a schmuck with a microphone. So anyone that is willing to listen to me is a privilege. So
Well, I know it's always a great time listening. I've listened like in and out, I go to work and I definitely turn on you guys. Always a fun time. So now the real hard hitting question: what made you get started in this?
actually, so now I'm solo.
Mhm.
Um, it's under a different name with one of my good friends growing up, my friend Matthew. We did it together, and we would always, just football around in our neighborhood and stuff like that, and we just talk shit about sports and give our opinions. And one time it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was right before New Year's on 2020. So it was like December 30th, 2019. And we were just throwing the football around at like 1 a.m. And I was like, dude, we should start like a YouTube channel or a podcast or something. And it was funny because how much of a good friend I am. I had no idea that he was actually going to school for communications. So he had access to, a podcast studio, like next level editing software, all that kind of stuff. So we just kind of took it and ran with it. And he unfortunately, he had a lot of stuff going on. He was still going to school. I graduated already. So he had a lot of stuff going on. He was looking for a job. He had to bow out. And I took over and that's really it. I just wanted to get my sports opinions out there because I felt like I had some good stuff to talk about. And I feel like my knowledge was good. I don't want to be like, oh, I have the best knowledge, but I felt like my knowledge was sufficient enough to start a YouTube channel and get some good content out there. So that's really what it was. It's a big passion of mine. Sports has always been number one in my heart, pretty much. So
Mhm.
I figured I might as well try and capitalize off of it and get my name out there.
I don't blame you. I mean, sports is a big passion of mine too. I try to incorporate that into my channel with all my gaming and all that stuff. So, to be able to do stuff you love is the best feeling.
Absolutely, man, 100%.
So, between the time you started in late 2019, early 2020 to now, what is something you'd say has been your highest moment as a content creator?
I would say it was fairly recently, during the holiday season, uh, recording a podcast, and I got an episode. I got an email from talent evaluator at Manscaped.
Mhm.
and they wanted to have a partnership with me, a month-long partnership, and I would say that uh, getting not only a sponsorship but a well-known sponsorship like Manscaped, it was pretty significant for me considering I really just do the podcast for fun.
Mhm.
So seeing a level of success to the point where I can get a worldwide known brand to sponsor me for a month during the holiday season, and I know exactly what it was for. I mean, they're just trying to get their products out there as much as they can. They were reaching out to smaller creators and trying to get as many sales as possible. But
Mhm.
the fact that I was lumped into that, it just made it that much more special. Recording ad, I've never recorded an ad before, so sitting here at my desk, like freaking out about what I was gonna say, it made it that much more of like a cool experience. And once it got out there, they loved it. And we're actually still in talks right now. They want to get me on a longer term deal. So I guess my code account code worked well on manscaped.com. It's not still not in use now, but
Mhm.
we're still trying to work out things. We have a Zoom call scheduled for next week around there, and we're going to talk. So the fact that even I wouldn't even have cared if no one used my code. Just the fact that doing this for fun and then getting someone like Manscaped to sponsor me for I think it was 3 or 4 episodes was really cool, and it was nice to see.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's definitely got to be a fun thing, when the company's even. All right, we want you back.
That was definitely a bit. I was definitely surprised. I was fully prepared. The guy's name was Drew to reach out to me
Mhm.
and go like, "Hey, good job, but we're gonna take it somewhere else." And I was fully prepared for that. But
Yeah, but
the
they
fact that
surprised
they were
you.
like, "Yeah, exactly. Let's talk it out. Maybe we could find something for you." That was cool.
That is always fun. We're gonna flip the script a little though. Is there any like low points you can think of between your time that really kind of affected you?
100%. Starting a podcast and a YouTube channel right before the global pandemic
Mhm.
was, it was rough because we were spoiled in the fact that we had a recording studio, like I said, all professional equipment, professional editing softwares, professors that were there that we needed if we needed advice, like, and then in a snap, it was all gone. We were not allowed back there. We were kind of just left out to dry. We had no equipment, no nothing on our own. So trying to pick everything up and start from scratch essentially was kind of difficult, and we kind of lost our way. We didn't really know what to do. We went dormant for a while, and then we just started because what was there to do? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You couldn't get anyone to come to you for an interview. There was really nothing going on in the sports world in general. How many times can you report on COVID? You know what I mean? So started interviewing like ex athletes and people that were up and coming, and it was a lot of fun. It got our channel rolling again, and then we built a head of steam, and it is what it is today because of that momentum. So there it was definitely some uncertainty there, and it was definitely difficult for sure.
Oh no, I get that. I mean, I started my thing in middle pandemic, so it was really a good adjustment period. But at least what you were able to do was just awesome to make yourself really roll with it and bounce back even harder. I mean, now look at what you're doing. You're working with Manscaped, so it was definitely a good thing to do.
For sure. I mean, I was gonna continue it regardless because I was having fun with it.
Hmm.
I just needed the equipment, and
Sorry,
I just need.
the dog is next to me and she kicked over my controller.
And what kind of dog?
Cattle mix, little Miss Bambi over here, but but I mean, as long as you're having fun with it, that's a good reason to come back to it.
I, that's why I said I was like, biggest thing for me was having rent because when you start a channel or you start like a podcast, like of course your friends for the first like couple episodes are gonna gas it up and make it bigger than really what it is. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what was happening. So once that started drying up, once like our friends started like losing interest, seeing like people, comment and all that kind of stuff and have their input on the video or on the podcast. That was really cool to see because I was like, wow, our reach is bigger than you think. Because
Mhm.
you don't stop to think, especially for YouTube. Like I feel like podcasts are a little different, but YouTube, where legitimately anyone in at any part of the world can just comment on something that you made in your room, in your house. You know what I mean? It's like it makes you realize how big the global reach is of the internet and YouTube itself.
It's definitely a magical, like, for myself too. Like, I'm streaming and I'll get someone. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning for them, and I'm always like, "Oh, I hope you're having a good evening." And they're like, "What are you talking about? I just had a fucking bagel for breakfast." I'm like, "Oh, sorry."
What is your what mostly well like what do you stream the most? Because I know you do a lot of
I do whatever the hell I feel like, to be honest with you.
there you go.
I've been doing a lot of Mario Party recently, though. You really want to know what I've been
I love
doing a lot, but
I love that
I
game.
come home, I say I want to play this. I have a challenge ready. Boom, let's go. All I do.
That's awesome, man.
So speaking of Conan, on your side, real quick though. So we're talking about all those highs and lows. Any good people that you've met throughout your journey here that really kind of helped you push forward?
Sure. That comes to mind is actually someone that I still talk to this day every once in a while. We had I don't know how familiar you are with him when I say his name because like he was an NFL player and he played in the I think it was the AAF as well
Hmm.
when that was actually around. But his name is Jay Bromley. He used to play on the Giants. He went to school at Syracuse. He had a decent like sophomore year. He was on the Giants for about 4 or 5 years and then moved over and retired. But when we interviewed him, that was at the time our biggest interview, and
Hmm.
after it went fantastic. Like the guy had so much great advice to give, not only for us, just in general, and a great positive outlook on life. And stayed on with us for about 30 minutes after we were done recording, and just told us how professional we were, and how much he was impressed with us, and this was one of the best interviews that he ever did. And I had his phone number, and I still talk to him time to time. Wish him a happy birthday when it's his birthday, stuff like that. It's just cool to see that like a regular average person like me could talk with an athlete of his caliber
Hmm.
whenever I want, essentially. So that kind of connection is really cool. And then people that used to help us produce, like Joe DiLuisio, he's a professor of communications at Iona College, where we used to
Hmm.
record. He was always super nice. I reach out to him via email. I haven't seen him since 2020, but he still talks to me like we're best friends. So just people always asking how you guys doing? How's everything going? Do you need any help? Things like that. You meet people along the way that are just fantastic human beings, and that's basically what it was. I just met so many people that have helped me along the way, and mentioned, "Oh, you guys do a great job." And that's always nice to hear, like
Yeah,
that makes you want to do more when you hear something like that. If someone goes to you, you guys did a great job, but like, there were still some shitty parts. Like you're going to be like, "Oh, all right, thanks." But hearing that someone was like of his caliber being like, "No, that was a great job. You guys did fantastic. I was very engaged." It was really nice.
that is always nice. Definitely to have good talent. So why don't we get to know a little more about the guy behind the mic, though? I know you're a big sports fan. What are your teams? You gotta tell everyone what your teams are.
So unfortunate. I'm a New Yorker through and through, especially with my sports teams. Like I don't have any different preferences outside of New York. So for baseball, which has always been my number one sport, I am a Yankee fan. Football, unfortunately, I am a Jet fan, diehard Jet fan. It's really upsetting. Uh, for hockey, I'm a Ranger fan. Basketball, I'm a Knick fan, and then I do love soccer as well. And I'm a NYCFC homer, but I do like Manchester City as well, and I just love watching soccer in general. So
Hmm.
I don't really necessarily put all my marbles behind one team. I just like watching the game itself. But
Fair enough.
yeah, I would say that yeah. So I've seen uh, some disappointing teams over the past like decade or so. It's been a little bit
Trust
rough,
me, I know.
especially especially with the Jets and the Knicks. But I can't complain about the Yankees, and the Rangers are always in the playoffs too, essentially. So
Yeah.
can't really complain too much.
I mean, I know about disappointing teams. I mean, you can see by the hat. I like my Falcons, and I like my Mets. And oh boy, we're not gonna talk about those. But we can.
Things are looking up. You just signed Max Scherzer, Starling Marte. You guys are
And
looking
we
up.
always have teams, and then they do well in the beginning, then they blow it in the second half. Or, we made it to the World Series to get fucking destroyed by the Royals or lose to the Yankees. So we don't need to talk about those, but everything should be looking up for the Yankees and the Rangers. I think the Knicks are probably on a good path, too. We're not going to talk about the Jets. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking.
To be honest with you, and I always say that I'm the most subjective Jet fan, at least that I know, and I know that sounds very pompous of myself, but I just call it like it is. I'm a part of the most toxic place that you can ever be is a fan group on Facebook, regardless of the
Hmm.
team that it is that it's about. And I'm in a bunch of Jets Facebook groups, and I mean, these people just like anytime that someone gets cut or anytime someone's a free agent, like I can't tell you how many posts I've seen that the Jets should go out and sign Devontae Adams. Like Devontae Adams really wants to come to the Jets. You know what I mean? Like let's be real here.
It's
Like
that's the problem. Like they don't have a team yet for them to want to go there. So you gotta build the team and then they come.
I think the future is definitely looking up. I think outside of Zach Wilson, and I still think that Zach Wilson played a hell of a rookie season the second half after he came back from injury. Elijah Moore, Elijah Vera Tucker, Brendan Eccles, all these rookies, Michael Carter played fantastic this season. I think that this is the best rookie class that the Jets have had probably since 2006. So things are definitely looking up. They got a lot of good young players. They got 4 picks inside the first 8 picks in the draft this
Hmm.
upcoming year. So, if they could add a few impact players and not shit the bed when it comes to drafting, like they have in recent history, I mean, things are looking up. I fully expect if the offseason goes the way that I think it should go, I think the Jets could definitely win 8 or 9 games next year. Their schedule is definitely on the favorable side as well.
Hmm.
So I think that they could definitely do it if they make a few adjustments.
Yeah, they definitely need an O line though, because if Zach Wilson keeps dying, like how I always watch Matt Ryan die, they ain't
Like
much to
you
be
got
after.
the Atlanta Falcons. What are you? I I actually just recently did a
You did it.
Atlanta Falcons mock
I
draft,
saw I saw that. I
and
didn't watch it yet, but I was gonna
yeah,
watch it at some point when I was a little less busy.
and I'm just looking at like your offensive statistics, and I'm looking at like the offensive line rankings, and it's just like every position is like either dead last or next to dead last in like efficiency, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like isn't Matt Ryan like what I don't what is he 37
38.
around there like. And you have so much money invested in him, you might as well just build an offensive line around him. I mean, the guy's getting killed, but
Let's say.
that
I mean, he's dying every play. This is after 2022. He's probably gonna be gone. He's 36, so you were right. Yeah, he's probably gonna be gone after the season.
you just you have so much money invested. I've done the over the cap stuff and everything because I like to do, especially I feel like a lot of people think that a mock draft is just let me put the software up there and whoever I feel like should go to this team should go there. I feel like a lot of people don't really take positional value into consideration. And when I was looking at the Atlanta Falcons roster and I was looking at the money that you guys have, and I was like, you guys have like $40 million against the cap invested in Matt Ryan next year. I was like, he's staying whether you guys want him or not,
Hmm.
because there's no one's going to take that money. And if you cut him, you're going to wind up paying him about 35 million of that in dead cap anyway. So,
Yeah,
you
get
might as
another
well just
year
keep
out of
him
him,
for
and then
another
he's
year.
gone. Probably it's contract year here right here for him. But I have a strong feeling he's probably walking away. So we'll leave that as is. No more depression talk of Mr. Matt Ryan. He's my favorite quarterback right now, and he's getting used and abused over there. So if I was a new content creator, what is one piece of advice you would give me?
Me, at least, what I always thought was don't get discouraged by numbers. So, like, if your numbers set a realistic goal for yourself, especially if you don't have the subscribers or you don't have the reach that some other people do, you're not going to see numbers. You're not going to see a lot of views. You're not going to see a lot of podcast streams and downloads. You got to get yourself out there. Just stick with it. Stick what you do best. Put your best foot forward. Put out the highest quality content that you can, and just keep pushing. The numbers are going to come. Like I mean, the first like 20 videos that we put on YouTube got like 10 views, and my buddy at the time was like, I don't think that this is going to work. And I was like, well, what do you expect? No one knows who we are.
You've been doing it for
Like,
so little. It's not really out
yeah.
there yet.
I mean, no one's gonna just randomly look up what we're talking about one day and go, "Oh my god, this, wow, these guys are great." You got to get your name out there. You got to trust the process. You got to get inside the YouTube algorithm, which is a whole nother fight in its
Mhm.
own right. as you know as well, probably. And you just got to stick with it, especially if you're having fun. If you're doing this to try and make a living, I don't know what to tell you. Like it works for so little people. You might as well just have fun with it. And if you do get monetized eventually and you get sponsors in your videos, then that's amazing. So little people can say that they get that done, but videos where you have fun, what you're passionate about, and the numbers will eventually come if you're good enough, you know?
Always, yeah, always a fair thing there. For everyone else, where can they find you? Where can they find you?
So on Instagram, you could find me at PTV Sports Network. On Twitter, you can find me at PTV Sports Posts. YouTube, PTV Sports Network, and then on any streaming platform that you're thinking of, you can find me at PTV Sports Podcast. I post a podcast probably about 1 to 2 times a week, and I'm up to 103 episodes now on that. So
Nice.
that's it's pretty cool. Yeah, so you got a lot of content to listen to if you like the sound of my voice. So
For anyone who wants to catch up on any PTV stuff, all links will be in the description below. If you're listening on Spotify, wherever the hell, YouTube, just look in the description. You'll find whatever link I can get for him. It will be down there. Peter, anything you want to wrap up with? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to say?
is thank you for having me on. You are a fantastic host, and I'm definitely going to be in that next stream for sure. Definitely going to be in there, especially if you're streaming Mario Party. I love that game. So
We were doing Mario Party Superstars yesterday to make up because I was out. I literally took the first 4 streams of the year off. I wasn't feeling well for the first week, and then Monday the booster shot was kicking my ass. So, but
uh,
tonight, if
it's good to see that you are feeling better and getting back to the streaming
back to
schedule.
it,
Sure.
if you do watch me tonight, I will be playing a little throwback game of Mario Strikers, if you know what that is.
Be on there, dude. I'm actually going to be at work, so I'll definitely have the time.
Yeah, definitely. Besides that, thank you for coming. Always happy to have other guests. If you want anyone you want me to interview next, please leave in the comments down below or just reach out to me and I'll reach out to whoever. Peter, again, thank you for joining me. Make sure to check him out on all the social media platforms. Links will be in the description below. And we'll catch you in the next one. See you later.